"Billy, come here," his father thundered. Billy did not answer his father. This made Corporal Rufus very angry. In a moment of madness, fueled by the corrupt and evil conversation he had with his friends, Billy stood up to talk and challenge his father. "I will not come. Billy this, Billy that. Ah, are you talking to me? What if I talk to you? I beg, mind your business and leave Billy to rest. What has come over you? So you have grown to the point that you now talk back to me?" This is the story of a young boy called Billy. A long time ago, in a barracks located in southern Nigeria, lived a young boy named Billy. Billy's father, Corporal Rufus, was a rugged but loving soldier, a man of discipline, honored and well respected among his comrades. His mother, Madam Elizabeth, was a warm-hearted woman, well known for her success in garri business. Elizabeth was an industrious woman who brought much relief to her husband through her garri business. Their union was blessed with 4 children, namely Charity, Billy, Eno, and Esther. Esther was the 4th and last child of the union. Billy was the only surviving son of the union. Therefore, he was the apple of their eyes. His parents loved him dearly, and he was the next of kin to his father, according to military tradition. Billy was not born a bad boy. He used to be a very good boy with a promising future. However, as the old saying goes, evil association corrupts good manners. His affiliation with some outlawed kids in his neighborhood was about to teach him a bitter lesson, a lesson that would end him in tragedy. Their family was well known and respected within the ranks and files where they lived in the barracks. Billy and his other 3 siblings lived a life filled with love and discipline. The barracks was their home, a place where everyone knew everyone. He was known for his good nature, obedient, kind, and full of potential. His teachers were always fond of him, often using him as an example for the other boys to emulate. His friends also admired him. However, as he grew older, Billy found himself being drawn to a different group of boys, whose influence would later lead him down a dark path and to his tragic end. Billy had a childhood bosom friend. His name was Bison. Bison was a good boy. He was one of the few boys in the barracks, the same age as Billy, who worked hard to support his parents. He was disciplined and full of respect for others, a young man with a vision in focus for his tomorrow. Billy and Bison's parents were happy for their children's union. As is customary in the barracks, soldiers depend largely on what they got from their farm to support their large families. Their salary was barely enough to sustain them and their families for 1 week. So, during the planting seasons, Billy and his friend Bison would organize other boys for corporate work. One after the other, they would team up with the other boys to clear the bush and completely till up large farmlands for their parents, and would further assist in planting the crops. They would fetch firewood and water for their parents. This way, they brought great relief to their parents. Whenever Billy's mother wants to process her cassava into garri, Billy would organize his friends who would help in the work. That way, his mother's garri business prospered. As they grew older, Billy began to associate himself with a notorious boy whose name was Tenor. Tenor was a notorious young boy. His father, a chain smoker, was married to 3 wives and had 12 children, which he did not care for. As a teenager, from watching his father smoking, he too began to smoke and even surpassed his father when he started to smoke weed. He had no respect for his parents nor to his elders, and he barely assisted them to do any house calls. At first, when Billy's parents noticed their son's relationship with Tenor, they warned him and even took steps to break the relationship. But Billy would not listen to his parents. But mommy, Tenor is not as bad as people think. He is a nice person. It is just that people don't understand him, Billy would always argue, trying to defend Tenor and his friends. It is the stubborn fly that follows the dead body into the grave, his mother warned. But Billy would not listen. He became adamant, and that was how he paved the way to his own tragic end. One day, Billy, Bison, and Tenor went to the Mami market to have a nice time with friends. As they were there, Tenor pressured them to accompany him into a chalet, but Bison refused to go. Tenor, what do you mean? What on earth are you going to do inside that chalet? Bison worried. Haba, Bison, just relax. Tenor might not mean any harm. Can we just go there together to see what he had wanted to show us? Billy said. Bison, believe me, when we get inside, you are going to enjoy what you see. Just trust me, Tenor said, almost convincing Bison. I cannot offend God. Neither will I disappoint my parents just because I want to please you. I will not be a part of this. You can go ahead and enjoy yourself the way you want, but count Bison out of it. Billy, don't tell me you want to follow Tenor into that place to have fun with prostitutes. Our parents did not teach us that, and I cannot be a part to what I know can harm me, destroy my future, and even bring shame upon my parents, Bison said. As he turned to leave, he said to his bosom friend, Billy, if you don't cut off ties with Tenor, you will regret it in the future. Don't say I did not warn you, Bison said as he walked away from them. However, Billy ignored Bison's warning and followed Tenor into the chalet. The next day, as Billy came to visit Bison in their house, Bison did not feel happy with Billy over the previous day's incident. So he confronted him openly. Billy, you know the old saying, show me your friends and I will tell you who you are. And they also said that evil association corrupts good manners. Please, do not get me wrong. You and I know that Tenor has a bad reputation in the barracks. No reasonable parents would want their children to associate with him. And you know, your parents cannot be happy with you if you continue to move and talk with Tenor. Do you want your parents to feel sad? Bison asked. But Tenor is just a normal young man, like every other person. He and his friends do not mean harm. They had never hurt anyone before. The people just misunderstood and hate them, Billy argued. I can see that your mind is already made up, and there is nothing I or anyone can do to change your mind. But just be careful, Bison advised. Billy, my friend, as long as you continue to get along with Tenor, my association with you will be limited. The reason is simple. My parents will not be happy to see me with Tenor. and I cannot afford to offend them. From that day onward, Bison started avoiding Billy. Meanwhile, Billy's relationship with Tenna and his friends continued to work stronger despite his parents' warning. One fateful day, as Billy sat with Tenna and his friends in an open space in the admin section block where they lived in the barracks, chatting about life, family, and their plans for the future, the conversation took a dark turn when one of the boys, Ekene, boasted to the hearing of his friends, saying, "If my father ever tries to embarrass me, beating or shouting at me in front of my friends, I will surely make him realize that I am no longer a boy." The other boys laughed and said to him, "So what will you do?" "Me? I will fight him. I will make sure I give him the worst embarrassment of his lifetime." When Ekene said that, the other boys kept quiet for some time. Later, they all burst out laughing, each of them echoing their minds. But Benny remained silent. He did not utter a word nor share in their feelings. He just sat down there and listened attentively. Although Billy did not partake in that conversation, but a seed of rebellion was sowed in him through it. 2 weeks later, as his father, Corporal Rufus, returned home from a long day in the office, he was tired and hungry. Since there were no other persons available in the house, he called out to Billy to come and assist him. "Billy, where are you? Please come and assist me here." His father called 3 times, but Billy ignored his father. Initially, his father thought that Billy had gone out, but as he looked behind, Billy was still sitting there, still sitting at the same spot where he was seated before. "Billy, come here," his father thundered. Billy did not answer his father. This made Corporal Rufus very angry. In a moment of madness, fueled by the corrupt and evil conversation he had with his friends, Billy stood up to talk and challenge his father. "I will not come. Billy this, Billy that. Do your worst." "Are you talking to me? What if I talk to you? I beg, mind your business and leave Billy to rest. What has come over you? So you have grown to the point that you now talk back to me? I beg, just let me be. If you are tired or someone had offended you in your office, don't transfer your aggression on me. Just let me be, I beg you," Billy said as he walked away from his father. Their neighbors heard the commotion and rushed out. Gradually, a crowd began to gather around their block. Some people were watching from a distance. "Is that not Billy's voice? Who is he quarreling with?" one of their neighbors asked. "How am I supposed to know, Mama Silas?" their other neighbor answered. "Billy of all people, that quiet boy, who could have offended him?" The other voice sounded like his father's voice. "Could he be quarreling with his own father? Let us go and see." So Mama Silas and her friends, who were having a meeting, rushed outside to see who was quarreling Billy. As the woman rushed out, they were shocked to see Billy talking and pointing fingers at his father. "Hey, Billy, stop that. What has gotten over you? It's like you have started smoking. Why are you talking to your father in that manner? Is anything wrong with you?" "Mama Salas, mind your own business. Who invited you?" Billy shouted. At this moment, Corporal Rufus was very angry and could no longer control his anger. So, in his rage, he tried to grab Billy. But Billy, avoiding his father's grip, bent over, making his father climb onto his back. Then he slammed him to the ground. "Hello!" Everyone shouted. "Abomination! Hey, Billy has beaten his father. Billy slammed his father 3 times to the ground before he escaped to a safe distance. The soldiers and neighbors who witnessed what happened were very angry. Therefore, they chased Billy to catch him. But Billy was quick to understand their plot, so he escaped further to a safer distance, where he continued to boast, "This is just the beginning. You have not seen anything yet." More people gathered. When they heard the voices, the crowd that gathered began to whisper to each other's ears, "You need to see how he slammed his father to the ground 3 times. Hey, abomination," another voice echoed. Anyone who heard what happened was shocked. Corporal Rufus, who was humiliated and embarrassed by his own son, rose up from the ground and cursed him. Everyone that witnessed what happened thought Billy would have become remorseful and apologized to his father. But no, Billy was still being cocky and feeling proud that he had slammed his father to the ground. When Tenna and other boys who brought up the conversation of standing up to their fathers heard what happened, they said to Billy, "Oh boy, you be best oh. No matter what our father do to us for this life, we no go fit answer am. Talk less of to fight with am for public. You no do well oh, at all. From now, everybody there for you on your own. You should better go and apologize to your father before it is too late. Don't say I did not warn you. Me, I dey stubborn, but my own never reached this level." But Billy did not heed the advice of Tenna and his friends. So Tenna and his group began to avoid him, especially when they discovered that he had even refused to apologize to his father. Meanwhile, Billy did not believe that the cause could affect his life negatively. However, from that day onward, Billy's life took a dramatic turn. Things happened so fast and in quick succession that everyone, including his teachers, noticed the rapid changes in his life. The cause seems to have manifested in every aspect of his life. He lost interest in going to school. As the only son to his mother, this broke her heart. His bosom friend Bison, who had withdrawn from him a long time ago, made a last-minute effort trying to get him back on track, but nothing seems to work. Everyone else, except his mother and sisters, avoided him. Although his father, Corporal Rufus, was still angry at the shame Billy brought upon him. However, he was willing to let go and forgive him, if only he would realize his mistakes and apologize to him. But that was not to be. Not too long, Billy went and associated himself with another group of boys known as the Rastafarians, who were renowned for their addiction to smoking of weed and for consuming hard drugs. He started with cigarettes. Gradually, he migrated into smoking weed. At that point, he had completely lost interest in school and as a result, dropped out of school. Meanwhile, the chalet which Tenna introduced to him became his second home. In fact, he spent most of his time in the chalet with call girls, womanizing and drinking, and on several occasions, he had drunken himself to stupor. The boy who once had a bright and promising future was now a shadow of his former self. His mother was heartbroken. She tried everything in her power to save her son. On many occasions, she asked him to carry people to help him apologize to his father, but he ignored her counsel. Instead of taking his mother's advice, he said, "I would rather die than to go and apologize to him." She prayed earnestly and hoped that her only son would change one day. She pleaded with him to have a rethink on the consequences of his actions, humbled himself, and sought for his father's forgiveness and prayers. But Billy would not heed to his mother's good counsels. Since Billy was not willing to change, his father disinherited him, hoping that these steps would bring him back to his senses. But this was not to be. Meanwhile, as Billy continued to associate with the Rastafarians, he went further astray. His continual refusal to apologize to his father and the unwillingness to change his ways made his father ask him to move out of his house. Billy's life became a tragic mess. He was now an addict, a chain smoker, and a man without direction. His days were spent in a haze. The once promising boy was now a shadow of himself. Since none of his friends were willing to take him in to stay with them, he went and rented a small bachelor room in the Mami market. Out of sympathy, his mother and sisters usually sent food and money to him sometimes, hoping that a day will come when he will become reasonable again. One day, in the bacha where he lived at the Mame market, his neighbors noticed that for some time they had not seen him. So they alerted his mother and the battalion RSM, who initiated a search party for him. For 2 days, they did not find him. So on the third day, his neighbors started noticing a stench smell coming from the direction of his room. So they alerted the soldiers, who came and forced the door open, and what they saw shocked everyone. There was Billy lying on the bed, dead and swollen. Water mixed with blood was dripping from his body. It was a horrifying sight. The soldiers shook their heads at the horrifying scene before them. His neighbors looked in shock at the scary sight of his dead body, tears streaming down their faces. His mother was notified, but her neighbors did not allow her. She and her daughters wept uncontrollably. His father was heartbroken, so he distanced himself from a son who was not willing to repent and apologize for his past misdeeds. The soldiers and his other friends levied themselves, contributed some amount of money, and with that they bought a coffin, put his body into the coffin, obtained permission from a burial place in the cemetery where they buried him. It is true, they say, that whatever has a beginning will surely come to an end one day. This was indeed a very sad end to a once promising and aspiring life. Billy's story is a reminder of the impact of choices and associations, the friends we choose, the conversation we entertain, and the action we take all shapes our destiny. Billy's downfall was not a sudden event, but a gradual descent, fueled by poor choices and bad company. This story emphasized that importance of respect for our elders, the value for good association, and the consequences of our action. The Bible tells us in 2 Timothy 2:22 to flee also youthful lusts, but followed righteousness, faith, charity, and peace with those who call on the Lord out of a pure heart. And again, in 1 Corinthians 15:33, the Bible says, "Be not deceived, for evil associations corrupt good manners." Don't let anyone deceive or mislead you. Associating with bad people will ruin decent people. This is a call to young people everywhere to choose their friends wisely. Remember, friendship is by choice and not by force. Do not allow yourself to be pressured into any relationship that may destroy your life at the end. And always remember to embrace the wisdom of your parents, cherish the values of your community, and always strive to make choices that lead to a brighter future. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Give me a like and share this story with your friends and loved ones. Also share your thoughts with us in the comment section below. I will really love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Until I bring another story your way. Bye and stay safe.